Hello, Aries. How are you? Today is November 25th. It is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I usually do a lunch on Thanksgiving here, but we'll be skipping it this year because we're still in the L word. Anyway, I wanted to do like a midweek check-in because since we last spoke, two planets changed signs. The sun is in Sag and Venus is in Scorpio. Neptune is still retro. That changes in the next couple days, so in time for the weekly. Just want to do a quick reminder that I am still taking personals. Thank you to everyone who allowed me to read for them this week. It's funny, I was noticing that there's always some overlap between the people who contact me, like either two had the same ascendants, many had similar placements. So it's kind of funny that there's like a cohort of similarities of people that I get to read for. Anyway, if you're interested in a private reading, the information will be down in the description box. So let's see what energy we can expect for the rest of the week. What is the energy for Aries now? Ooh, nice. Okay, so discovering passion, doing things because you want to, not because you have to. Very much in Aries, very much a fire energy. It's kind of what I expected after the sun went into Sagittarius. Let's see what else we have here. What is the current challenge energy? What is the challenge energy for Aries? November 25th, challenge energy. None. Right. What is the Aries challenge energy? November 25th. Okay. Interesting. Creativity. This is the Empress. So the challenge is tapping into that energy, that we feel the passion, but maybe we're having some struggles. Really harnessing that energy, tuning into it, or maybe it's just that this is how we're solving it, right? Like it's a challenge that we can't do enough. Let's see what else we have here. We may be sensing that there's like too much possibility of things we can do and not necessarily know where to direct them. Because this, she's kind of like reaching out, but also just this like flood of information coming at her. What's the lesson right now for Aries? November 25th lesson. I gotta say, these are pretty damn good cards. So Isis, magic manifesting, your dreams, vision, and goals are becoming reality. Stay focused. So this feels like a really kind of nice, encouraging reading for us. Three women, one after the other, so very powerful feminine energy right now. Passion, creativity, and manifesting. So it's like continuing to do what it is that you love, that which wakes you up out of bed. If you're feeling overwhelmed by creative input, just do one thing at a time, but know that like things are working. And this actually came up a lot in the private readings I was doing. And we saw this message also in the weekly that I did, that, it's just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. She has, again, all these, and this may be one of the other issues, is that you feel like you're creating, but you're not necessarily able to see the results of it yet, because think of this as kind of like, the pregnancy card, where you don't see what's happening, but it's happening at a cellular level. And then things things have an external expression, but what's actually the growth that happens on a minute by minute, day by day basis, we don't necessarily see. Very much like a flower comes out of the plant. You know, you can have it on your balcony for a while, and then one day you walk out and voila, there's a flower. It didn't just happen overnight. There were lots of things going on underneath. Now, can I get 2 cards, please? Beginning and ending energy. 2 cards, beginning and ending. Okay. Goblins and slow and steady. Okay, so this first one here is goblins. Maybe, and this may be sort of like tapping into this challenge energy here. Kind of, you know, afraid of the dark, or afraid of things that go bump in the night, which are very frequently manifestations of our own concerns, right? So we may be feeling like, you know, like there's things hidden that we can't see. We might be afraid of the things that we can't see. We may feel that there are forces that are working against us, that we're not aware of. And then we end here with this slow and steady, but it's in reverse. So let me just double check what that means. Okay, pushing things forward impulsively will not only prevent success, but potentially cause more trouble than you're prepared to handle. Moving too quickly will only yield unripe fruit with a bitter taste. Slow down, breathe, meditate. You're not a human doing, you're a human being. Just be. This is funny, I literally said this in a reading this morning. Everything will work out if you can apply the brakes and become more aware of what's happening in this moment. A calm focus on the now, breathing in the beauty of your surroundings, will restore your power to consciously co-create your world. All fruits ripen in their own time. Okay, so yeah, it's basically what I was saying. And I think what this is trying to say is that we feel typical Aries form, right? It's like, I'm putting all this effort in, I'm doing, I'm not seeing the physical, the material results that I want to see. There's a disconnect between my energy and what I think it should be, right? Like, these are sort of 2 different scenarios. She doesn't necessarily look rich and abundant as much as this one does. But the funny thing is that in this story, she's a princess, right? Who sort of walks away from her princess palace to do something that's very important to her, which is to read to the elderly. And so what this says is, particularly with these 2 cards here, and I feel like this is very much like goblins of the mind, right? Letting these thoughts of, it's not happening fast enough, it's not going to happen, it's not possible, this isn't going to work, whatever, that this can eat away at you and sort of reinforce this energy of needing to see, when it's a matter of continuing to invest a passionate energy into it, right? Because as this says, the dreams, visions, or goals are becoming reality to stay focused. Let me get some tarot here. I had something else I wanted to say, but I forgot. Oh, yes, that was the other thing I wanted to say. So, and it's funny, like I said, I've given this advice twice this week, and it's interesting that it keeps showing up in the cards. Frequently, our perception of how much we've done is different than the reality, in negative, meaning that we think like, oh, I haven't gotten anything done, I haven't made any progress, like I thought this would be here by now and it's only here. So to make a conscious effort of noting every step you take, right? Like, where did you start? What did you do? Where are you now? What have been the increases? So that you can be objective about that relationship between what you're investing and what you're getting back. So that it doesn't feel like there's such a disconnect on where you are and where you think you should be. Can I get 3 cards, please, for Aries energy, November 25th? 3 cards, please. What's the story here? Okay, so this is that goblin energy, right? Prisoner in our own mind, keeping ourselves in chains, maybe enacting like bad thought habits that keep dragging us down to a place we would like to be getting out of. 2 more. Yep, Ace of Wands, passion. There it is, right there. 1 more, please. Oh, very nice. So that 1 goes to 4, right? Goes from just being an idea to being something really stable, being something worth celebrating, being something to be proud of, you know. So it's like there's a nice progression, and I saw this has come up. It came up in that reading that I didn't post as well. That it's like we can keep ourselves in a sort of dark space, but to just keep pushing forward. And like I said, you know, I said like make benchmarks or guidelines so that you can note like what you've done. So for every effort, put 1 stake in the ground, and then all of a sudden you realize you have 4, right? If you just keep taking the branches and then throwing them, there's no visible evidence of what you've accomplished. If you take these branches and you put them down in a row, then all of a sudden, you know, you've built something, and it's visual and you can see it. And this will help sort of alleviate this fear of the unknown, the fear of things that lurk beneath. And keeping ourselves in sort of like a dramatic sense of chains and addictions. We got 2 cards of advice. So yeah, it's very much about perseverance, but perseverance and I don't want to say self-celebration, but self-observation. So make sure you're sort of like keeping objective track. Don't be careful of jumping into anything. That also came out in that other reading that I didn't post. Sagittarius energy can make us impulsive. Don't rush towards anything. Make sure that everything you're doing is done slowly, carefully, methodically, well thought out without being anxiously thought out. Okay, energy for Aries, please. Owl spirit. You can see clearly now. It's 43, which is a 7, so that's a spiritual energy. Let's read that owl spirit. And remember, the thing about the owl is that A, it can see at night, and B, it's able to spin its head around. I think it's like something 290 degrees. So it can see everything, and it can see in all directions. They also stay up in trees, so they have a better vision. So it's very much talking about also a change in perception. Owl spirit arrives to remind you that the wisdom within you is informed by your keen senses and the wisdom within the consciousness we all share. Even in the darkest night, the owl sees clearly and is guided by every sense it has, including the first sense of intuition. Right now, your sensitivities are turbocharged and you are receiving messages from all directions. Owl spirit reminds you to be wise and pay attention to what's between the line, what is invisible to the naked eye, what cannot be heard with the ears, and what others may not be able to perceive. With all your senses aroused, you have much knowledge available to you. Clarity will come as you sit with all that you are sensing, allowing your intuition to guide you into understanding the whole and not just the parts. Let your wisdom arise and be your guide as you trust the acuity of all your senses. Intuition is real and can provide the clarity you need to understand your situation right now. Your relationship, your finances, your job, whatever it is, you can see the truth clearly. Nice. And that's also, Sagittarius is the truth seeker, right? So he brings with him the ability to see the truth, because he's also the god of the gods. So he sits at the top of Mount Olympus and has a very different view of things. So very much to look at things from a different perspective, not from the bottom, but from the top. Okay. I think we got this a couple of weeks ago. The goddess Ishtar, an astrophyllite, daring rebirth. Let's read that. That sounds exciting. Okay, so we bring you the empowerment of daring rebirth. The bold spirit in you claims the divine defiance of the phoenix. It refuses defeat at every turn. No matter who or what may seek to overpower your spirit, your peace, your loving heart, and your wild optimism, you shall triumph in a divine and daring rebirth. Do not limit yourself with expectations, interesting, whether from another or your own mind. There is so much possible for you, a radically different and new you to become. Believe it, and so it shall be. Okay, so very clear thread. There's a message here of perseverance. There's a message of sticking to your passion, right, as a guiding principle, and not necessarily worrying about what that's supposed to look like in the material right now. And so to also look objectively at your situation, to be wary of when you drag yourself into a very dark space of thinking, to use signposts of your achievements, accomplishments, or progress so that you can see the movement that's happening, albeit steady, slow and steady, but still movement, right? There's not 10, but there's 4, and that's already something stable, right? It's laying a groundwork. So perseverance. Stick to your passions, look at situations objectively, don't rush into anything, make sure that it is properly examined, look at it from all directions, and what it looks like in the day and what it looks like in the night. Don't worry about expectations or where you think you're supposed to be right now. Worry about where you are and make a clear tracking for yourself that doesn't allow you to get into the space of, I haven't done anything, or this will never happen, but objective analysis of how far you've come. Now, it is possible that some of us are working on things that are not destined to be, giant success or whatever, but and they may be passion projects for us. And this is why it says to not get stuck in the expectations, because we have our own idea of what it's supposed to look like, but the universe may have a very different idea of what it's supposed to look like, and not only that, when it's supposed to hatch. So keeping ourselves on a self-made timeline and expectation guide can put us into our own prison and put ourselves in chains, and then we're actually not free to move because we're no longer guided by passion. We're guided by a shadow energy that's afraid of not having done enough, not having been enough, not having put enough energy into things. All right, so hope this was helpful. Wish you a very happy Thanksgiving if you're in the United States. Happy, safe, and healthy Thanksgiving, and I will see you for the weekly over the weekend. Take care.